Shalom, everyone, and welcome to Hebrew Planet, the official 12 Tribes Network. I am your host, Deja Yisrael, and tonight we have an amazing show lined up for you all. Going to be talking about a variety of different topics. But first, before we get into it, I would love to bring up a group of members of our nation who are doing amazing work for our future generations, for our nation, for our children. The Ministry of Education Divine Dedicators. We would love to welcome you all here to discuss a little bit about how you all are impacting our community and our nation and a couple of the events that you have coming up. So I would love to bring Mora Nizria to the stage. Shalom. Thank you so much for being here. This looks like an amazing event that you all are about to host.
Yes, well, thank you for having me, and we are very excited. This is going to be our first major fundraiser, musical telethon, just to support and fund our endeavor for the newly formed National Ministry of Divine Dedication. We are just so blessed that the Creator has put together an awesome team. Um, if we're a team of 5 to 6 people, we just got a new person that's helping us, and we've been giving support to existing um, Israelite academies, and our goal is to come together and provide a curriculum, a system for any of our people, wherever they may be in the world, to dedicate our children in a manner that is pleasing unto Yah. And so we are just very excited to be here tonight. And I do want to just introduce our coordinator of our musical telethon, which is Sister Mishia. Um, and she is the one who has put this together with her lovely husband, um, Brother Shimon, who is our pilot. And without further ado, Mishia can explain.
Shalom, shalom, family. All praises to the Most High. Well, He is amazing. Just so delighted to be invited on such a network, and we thank you for having us. And we want to say that all of the goals and efforts that we have are going to be towards divine dedication as a whole, but we are specifically working towards creating an aviation curriculum. So that's what the fundraiser is about. It is to add that curriculum to our repertoire, because we want to promote young Israelites, Hebrews who want to fly, and they're underrepresented in the aviation arena. And so that is a part of the big goal. And we've been working together with the brothers and sisters in Guyana, Israel, New York, North Carolina, and Virginia, just pulling together to make this show a success so that we can start that venture. It's a process, but it's a great one.
For sure. This sounds like such an amazing event, too. I would love to find out more. Where did the passion come from for wanting to educate our youth in aviation? We don't hear that often. We rarely even see representation in, domestic and international airlines. So what made you all want to go this route?
You want me to answer that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Shalom, everybody. So, Shimon Yehuda here. So this passion has been since, I guess, since I was 5 years old, as far back as I can remember. And I have been flying airplanes since I was 15, starting in high school. And it is something that I have seen throughout my venture as a pilot. And I've flown government work, from doing government work to making maps for Apple to flying on the commercial side. Everywhere that I've gone, it's it's like a surprise. People are like surprised to see that there's a black person flying the airplane and the type of airplanes. And especially I go to Africa. I've been to a bunch of different places in Africa, and they are so surprised that, oh, there's a black pilot. And it's something. Even in the US, walking through the airports, people are very surprised about the entire thing too, because black pilots are we are far and few. Female black pilots are even more hard to come by. And I just want to foster this opportunity that was given to me by an elder gentleman by the name of David Strong in New York City. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and it just happened upon me. The Creator was just he has always been there for me. So I wanted to do this thing and give it back to our people. I mean, it's gonna happen regardless if it happened with Israel or not, because
Right.
I am going to do it. It is something that I've always wanted to do. I started it years ago, but when the Creator deem it to be ready, it will be ready. So I want to be able to offer this to kids at a discounted rate, because it's not a cheap field to go into and get, as far as I have been into it. And not only for the flying portion, I would like for our people to learn to fix airplanes also, because there aren't too many of us in that field also. And I've been doing both of these for a good 28 years or so. I know I may not look like it, but that is how long I've been doing, teaching people to flying airplanes, and also teaching people to fix airplanes. Just a little background on myself. I am a graduate from Embry-Riddle University at Daytona Beach. I do have the highest of all aviation certificate that is out there that anybody could get, whether it's in the mechanic side or the pilot side. So, and I would like for it to be shared, and not just me having all of this license and experience, but I want to have it as something that our people can have. The problem,
For
but I would,
sure.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm kind of long-winded about it, but it is a
No,
passion of mine that I really would like to see more of our people into. There is a lot of opportunities for females, especially black female, and that is part of where we're trying to push for donations for these larger companies. It is something that we haven't got into a lot for as the fundraising section for that. But once we have the curriculum, then we will be able to promote that on a larger scale to different organizations. So it is still in its infancy, but it's just something. It's a growing pain that that all business go through.
definitely. Well, thank you so much for just your wealth of knowledge and your willingness to give back to our nation, because this is so important and it's necessary work for the growth of our nation. So, the viewers, myself, we definitely want to learn more about the event. What can we all expect from the musical telethon, which is happening on December 18th?
So you can expect righteous music. First of all, we want to make
Yes,
sure that when we're promoting ourselves, we're promoting it with music that represents us. And we are going to promote it through our website. So it's www.divinededication.org. That's divinededication.org. and you can go to the events page and get more information. You can even sign up if you want to be an artist. We have a few last minute slots. So if you want to showcase your righteous talents, let us know. And there's the website right there. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And this site is beautiful as well. I really love the representation. And it just gives a fresh appeal to what you all are doing. This is such a noble work that you all have dedicated yourselves to educating the next generation. So I love that there's the two fundraisers in place. Well, one fundraiser in place and another event in place where we can have these real discussions and just promote righteousness and promote educating our own children because that's so important, especially in this time.
Yes, I agree. Couldn't agree more, actually. And when you talked about the passion, I went back to probably my youth where my grandmother started an Israelite Institute and with another group of Israelites in, I don't know, the 70s, 60s, 70s. And so from then they were educating our youth, and then there was a gap. And so I think it's time that we close that gap. High time that we do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And this question that just was posed by Ima Hadora, where would they have to go to receive their training? I assume, is that for the aviation training?
Well, if it's for the aviation training, so in today's world, we can do all of the classroom stuff can be done online. So the plan is to have it would either be Gleim or Jefferson, or we might get something from Sporty's Pilot Shop. Depends on when we're ready to launch the program, where we can get the most discount to have those virtual teachings. And once they complete a certain amount, then I myself will take over and actually reinforce the knowledge portion by giving them the ground training. And also, then it will be the flying portion. Um, so, as of right now, I am located in Florida, and the goal is to be at a central location where people are able to get where we have a more dense population of Israelites. So I am very much in love with the weather in Florida, but I am not opposed to moving to a different location to be able to do something of this magnitude for our people. And it's because I know that most people aren't going to be able to just pack up and leave and go somewhere. But it can be done where once they are finished the knowledge portion, then those kids that are in school, we can have them on during the summer portion, during the summertime, complete the flying portion, which means if we're going to be in Florida, then we will provide some sort of way or means for them to come and spend the time and impart some knowledge of flying in there onto them during that time. The goal is to be able to get one student every summer at least, or one and a half student to receive a private pilot's license and part of a commercial license or instrument rating, so that within a year we will have people graduating with a commercial license and they can continue on to whatever they want to. But what we want to do is to employ our own people so that I wouldn't be the only instructor, or I wouldn't have to hire outside instructors to continue. So once somebody get to the level of a flight instructor, they will continue on and have a means of building the hours, the necessary hours that one need to go into an airline to operate. And these are skills that you can obtain without having a bachelor's degree, because believe it or not, I would say about 75% of pilots out there do not have a bachelor degree.
Oh, wow.
So
That's so good that they're able to get this instruction from our own people, and get that hands-on experience as well. So definitely a huge thanks to you for the dedication to this work and educating our people in this industry. Um, we'd also love to learn more about the open forum that's occurring this Sunday, December 11th at 1 p.m., about how the pandemic has affected our children's education. We know that it's definitely been a strange 2 years and it's affected adults in a plethora of ways. So I can only imagine how it's affecting our children's education. So we would love to discuss more about this forum, how, parents and educators and counselors can get involved, and what type of topics will be discussed this Sunday.
That sounds like a Mora Nisria question. Mora?
Yes, yes. Um, well, I would like to bring on, as I said, we do work as a team. Our program director, which is Sister Regini, who can talk about how we um, are opening that forum to discuss some of the things that we've experienced in our um, work with partnering with academies now, and it is definitely a real thing that we're seeing, and lots of parents are homeschooling, and this is really having an impact, and we want to be able to support our parents and provide our children with what they need. And so Sister Regini, who is a homeschooling parent also, can speak on that.
Shalom. Thank you for having me. All praise to the Most High for allowing me to be here today and for all of your lives. And I thank the Most High for this great reawakening to even discuss these type of topics and journey towards taking back our children's education. That is what we are aiming to do. We're pursuing alternative education so our children can be met where they are and be nurtured both mind, body, all things of mind, body, and spirit, and return to our connection with the divine. So that is our journey as divine dedicators. And what we noticed with the pandemic disruption is, what we're coining the phrase pandemic disruption, is basically during these 2 years of being separated from our communities and not even being able to be in school and socialize properly, we noticed that there is a lot of educational gaps with our children. And even being a homeschooling parent, there were forums that we were able to participate in, whether it be going to trips in museums, being around other children, and all of that was kind of disrupted during the pandemic. And as a result, a lot of our children are behind grade level, are dealing with social anxiety, or just not able to really mingle well in the social world. And children that were born or were young during the pandemic, we're seeing signs of them not even being able to connect with children their age, and even gaining that learning that happens with other children. So what we're doing first, we're having this forum on December 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we are basically going to have the conversation and be candid about what everyone is facing, the type of issues that our children are facing, and ways that we can combat it. And helping our parents understand that it's not necessarily our fault. A lot of parents want to homeschool, want to take back our children's education, but unfortunately, we might not even be qualified or feel that we have the support that we need. So we want to start showing our parents that we have the support and that we are a village, that we are all journeying towards educating our children. And then once we can meet everyone where we are, we can help elevate our children. So I hope you all can join us, whether you're a parent, an educator, someone that works in the community, and just ultimately just wants to take back your children's education and be a part of the educational movement. Please join us this December 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be virtual, and the flyer is listed there. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for this information. I definitely want to thank as well Ima Atura Shayara for just the work that she's been doing for the Ministry of Education, and the fact that she is the author of the Divine Dedication Manual that is here on the screen. Was on the screen, is on the screen. There we go. Is on the screen. She wrote this amazing manual that our teachers are and teachers and homeschooling parents are able to utilize to teach their children. So we definitely want to thank you for your work and dedication that you've put towards educating our future and the work that you have done for our nation. Oh, is she muted? If you're able to just hit the mic on your camera, there we go.
I think I did it.
Yes,
Yes,
you
I
did.
did. I want to thank you for, and I thank you. I thank the Most High for His wisdom that I was able to be so blessed to access, and it is my divine hope and prayer that I may continue to do so, and that this manual that Yah gave me, the words that He gave me, the thoughts that He gave me, will be the things that will be pivotal in the lives of our children, which is so needed. So thank you so much for having me. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much for being here. We definitely want to bring up as well Sister Zakia from Guyana, who works with the curriculum mapping and logistics. She also offers support to existing academies. So we definitely want to bring her up, welcome her, and thank her for the work that she's been doing for our nation and for the Ministry of Education as well.
Shalom. Toda Yah for blessing us all to be here. Uh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You're good.
I didn't know if I was muted. Yes, Toda Yah for the work that we have been able to put together. The development team has really been a stronghold with forming this curriculum and putting the maps together, but the foundation really was the manual. We used the manual to formulate this next generation to be great, and the curriculum is not just for school age children, but it starts from the womb. It starts from our families. It starts from the parents, even when they think of wanting to have a child. So if we all have the manual, it will definitely guide our families and keep us all on the same page as Israel is all over the world. So yes, it's been great.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And in closing, I just want to throw out there, we'll ask the question, how can viewers, listeners, watchers, anyone in our audience get involved with the Ministry of Education? We have a lot of people in our nation who want to learn more about homeschooling our own children, who may want to get into the education field. How can they learn more about that, and where can they get in contact with you?
Okay, I'm sorry. You can contact us through our website, which is going to be www.divinededication.org. There, for any parents, any existing academies that want to partner, we want to come together as one nation under the Creator. And so we are just open and to provide any assistance that any of our people might need in any of the different areas. So that is our location, www.divinededication.org. And you can join us at the forum this week and on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there we'll be able to get together and have more of a discussion and direct people in in the areas that they might need. And our email address is divinededicators@gmail.com. But there you can also reach us also through the website. And so we look forward to helping and having that dialogue with our people. And we thank you for this opportunity. We thank the Creator for all the successes and the bringing us together all over the world to champion educating our own children. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much. Thank you, the entire Divine Dedication team, for divinely dedicating. I know that sounds silly to say, but thank you so much for being here and all that you're doing for our nation and our children. Um, and yeah, hallelujah. Thank you so much. And as we continue with this show, discussing the debt that's owed to us and declaring our nation, I feel like this topic of educating our own children just flows perfectly with the next topic that we're discussing. What is owed to our nation? Obviously, the Most High has to make every crooked path straight and right every wrong that has been done here. But as a nation, we have contributed so much to the infrastructure worldwide. And so we'd love to learn more about, what is owed to us? How can we declare our nation and how can we stand on our truth? So to help me discuss this, I have with me my co-host, Elder Shemaiah, Minister of Information for the United Nation of Yisrael, to discuss more about these topics.
Shalom, family. How you doing? All
Shalom.
praise. It's good to be here once again. And I like to say, give a warm welcome and thanks to our divine dedicators. They're doing an awesome job. I see all the great work they're doing. Their website. They're teaching our children. We're taking charge, and I'm really appreciative of that. And we're going to do all we can to continue to support and promote that aspect of things. So with that being said, as we jump into the subject matter of today, the debt owed to our nation, first and foremost, our nation belongs to the Most High. So the debt owed to our nation is double-fold. For who formed the nation? The Almighty did.
And to
So
answer this question and to continue on this, we have to leave them on a cliffhanger. We're going to jump to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to address that question really soon.
Hallelujah.
Have you been suffering with depression and irritability? Have you been losing sleep, tossing and turning, and feeling restless during the day? Do you feel anger and hostility as a reaction to seeing people not wearing masks? Learning a person is not vaccinated. Learning someone will not be voting. Hearing people are agreeing with Ye's alleged anti-Semitic remarks? Do you feel peace and comfort in knowing LGBT rights are enforced? Abortion rights are enforced? But cringe at the idea of legislative change and reparations for the people of the Transatlantic Slave Trade? You may be suffering from Stockholm Syndrome.
Yahuwah can help. Yah can be taken scripturally by young children and adults, with or without food, once or multiple times a day. You cannot overdose on Yah. Serious side effects might be peace, joy, long-suffering, having your sanity questioned, family and friends turning against you, being negatively labeled by the world, finding salvation from the world. Contact someone about Yah, the number one prescribed for Stockholm Syndrome.
Attention. If you or your children have been the victims of the Transatlantic Slave Holocaust, community disunity, and image destruction, you may be entitled to spiritual reparations. If you fit any of these characteristics, call on Yah right now to see if you qualify for reparations. The door for repentance may close in less than 30 days. Don't wait, or you and your children could forever lose your right to salvation. Call Yahuwah now. YAHUAH. YAHUAH. Call Yahuwah now.
So thank you so much for those words from our sponsors. And just jumping right in, we'd also like to introduce Elder Yah to the stage, who will be joining us for this conversation. And I feel like the question has been posed as well. Why do we have to declare our nation? A lot of people don't understand nationality at all. They look at us as if we're just another group or organization that's just talking good talk, or, maybe even a religious affiliated organization. So why do we have to declare our nation?
Hallelujah. And that's a very great question. And first and foremost, who created the nation of Israel? It was the Most High. He carved the nation of Israel out of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. So he is the creator, the genesis of the nation. And so as we embark on understanding who we are, we're coming back into what the Almighty called us to be. So the nation has been declared. The issue has been, since we have broken that covenant, breached the covenant that the Almighty made with us, which is a contract. And I'll put it in layman terms. We understand contracting every day in this world. And so we know in a contract, you have good clauses and you have bad clauses. And when you're in a good standing, you reap the benefits of being on the good side or the good clause of the same contract. And likewise, if you breach a contract or if you fail to perform on a specific aspect of that same contract, then you suffer the penalty. So because of the covenant breach that Israel committed against the Almighty, we have been placed in the bad clause of the same contract. So that contract, that covenant covers both blessing and curses. So we know also when the Almighty spoke to Abraham, he told him when he was still going by the name of Abram, he told him, know for surety that your people will serve 400 years as servants. And afterward, he was going to judge the nations and then bring them out with great substance. So in declaring that and understanding who we are as a people, we must identify with the covenant breach that we committed against the Almighty, first and foremost. So when we identify with the covenant breach, we have to understand, what did we do to the Almighty to get us in breach of the contract? And first, how did we get into the contract with the Almighty? The Almighty presented his covenant to Israel. And I'm going to use this term contract and covenant interchangeably, because we're speaking to all of our people across the globe, no matter where we are and whatever paradigm they find themselves in, whether it be any form of religion or doctrine, you name it. So we're going to deal with that. And so with that being said, as we look at the aspects of the covenant breach, what do? We started serving other gods, which is the first and foremost thing that the Almighty told us not to do, because he told us that he is a jealous Elohim. So because we broke that first one right off the bat, it catapulted us into other covenant breaches as we walked down the years on being the nation of Israel. And the Almighty gave us opportunity time after time. And as we did that, the Almighty told us in Deuteronomy chapter 28 that we were going to serve other nations and their gods, both wood and stone. Why did he give us that specific kind of punishment? Because we chose not to listen to the Almighty and go and participate with the other nations, looking upon the other nations on how they serve their gods. And unfortunately, family, many of us have still been doing that same thing today, because we learn who we are oftentimes from the paradigm of other religious aspects. Now we have to strip all of that off. Now it's time for us to unify as one people. We got people that are serving Islam, serving Christianity, serving the Egyptology, or you name it. And those that are consider themselves conscious Israelites, those that keep the Shabbat and feast days, those that believe in the new book, those that believe in the Torah and the Tanakh. We are all over in different aspects. And even with the Shabbats and feast days, we have those that keep the Shabbat according to the Gregorian calendar, those that keep it according to the lunar calendar, those that keep it according to the Enoch calendar, and the list goes on and on. So what do we have to do? We have to learn how to gather ourselves together, O nation not desire, and realize that if we had it right, we wouldn't even be in captivity. We wouldn't even be having this discussion right now about declaring our nation, because all will know who we are. But the Almighty left us a little bit of hope. As a matter of fact, he told us what to do while in captivity to mend this covenant breach so that he would remember his covenant. So as we declare the nation, we have to mend the covenant breach. And what do I mean by that? Mending the covenant breach is mentioned in Leviticus chapter 26, where he told us to acknowledge our transgressions, the transgressions of our forefathers, and how we walk contrary to Yah, and as a result, how he walked contrary to us. And he told us ultimately to humble our uncircumcised hearts. And when we do that, and when we do all those things that Yah has told us, specifically verses 40 through 42 of Leviticus chapter 26, gets right to the point. But the whole chapter is great to read and understand. But verses 40 through 42 gets right down to the meat and potatoes of the matter. So if we did those things, if we humbled our uncircumcised hearts, it will cause the Almighty to remember his covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, and also remember the covenant he made with the land. Family, the land is just as important as the people, because what did the Almighty do as part of the punishment? He separated the people from the land. And now we are all across the four corners of the earth. But he told us also in his word, in Ezekiel, he said that after we gather together and he bring us back in the land, that's where he's going to accept us. So family, what do we have to do to get back to that point? We have to gather ourselves together, unify, accept our punishment, and do all those things that it says in Leviticus chapter 26. So in reference to declaring the nation, it's about you accepting your punishment. It's about you cleaning up your act internally, because you can't be one way outside and another way inside. Or you can't be one way out in the open and a different way behind closed doors. You need to be the same in every aspect of your life. You should exemplify what the Almighty has called Israel to do. Now, while we in this punishment phase, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to do good. We're supposed to learn how to love each other. We're supposed to do right by each other. We're supposed to be an example of positive morality according to the scripture, according to the Torah or to Tanakh. Do those things that are right and pleasing. And we don't even have to discuss that. We already know what's right and pleasing. We already know how we should treat our brothers and sisters. So let's do that. Let's learn how to do that. We already got enough against us. The enemy is already against us. Why are we against ourselves? Because when we are against ourselves, we become our biggest enemy. And when we are against ourselves, we are against the glory of the Almighty. So let's continue this discussion. Let's talk about how can we do that? How can we start coming together to unify?
Yeah, these are really real topics that we need to address. I mean, need to put action behind as well. And I even want to ask, given the fact that for those that do know, the Israelites, the Shemitic people have been in so many different captivities, are in a captivity now. So I really want to discuss with you as well as with Elder Yawitazai as well. Um, how is what happened to our people relevant to what we're seeing today? Has anything really changed from the plantations of then? Are there plantations now? These are the types of things that we need to uncover to see how we can move forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? There were plantations in the South. There were plantations in the Caribbean, in South America, Central America, that we were brought to when we were taken from the Gold Coast, or what we know also as Ghana, which is also known today as the door of no return. And we were taken from there and we were transported to down to the Caribbean, South America, North America. And before we got to North America, we were sold up to North America in 1619. And in 1619, the first slaves were auctioned off the slave blocks in Jamestown, Virginia. And so then that spreading throughout all the different plantations in North America, what we call the United States, had transpired. Prior to that, we were on plantations down in the Caribbean, in Central and South America. But how does those plantations relate to today? So what we have to look at is the plantation is just its changed form. So you have to ask yourself the question, what do you have to do every day to put food on your family or food on the table for your family? How do you do that? One, you got to have a job,
Right.
right? And these corporations make the job. Private
Right.
industry controls the corporate functionality within this system. That's very important to understand. Yes, you got public government, but private corporations control the momentum and the direction of government. And a lot of key people understood that from time past as the reasons why things are developed that way today in this current situation. But today, the plantation is the corporate plantation. What has happened? And what
Now,
do I mean by that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't want you to move on too quickly from that. And I know, I just want to say thank you for having me on this here segment with you all to talk about this. But the plantation of the past and correlation to what is old to the children of Israel, and this is, of course, we're not talking about an entitlement thing, but it is according to what the scriptures are talking about. And we, of course, we have to go on to why are these things old? And I know that you kind of drafted a document going over that. Should we get into that? Because as I hear you're about to go into what's happening now today, but the same thing that was happening now today is being basically paralleled from what was going on before.
Absolutely. Yes. So we can go into that doc. Do you have it to pull up on the screen?
Yeah, I have it here. You open up the Portuguese Jews, the influence, how they benefited from the transatlantic slave trade, their position in the U.S. government, past and present. And so, this right here is clearly a discussion that a lot of people don't want to have. As a matter of fact, anytime you bring it up, they ask for proof. So is this proof, Elder Shemaiah? Is this the proof that they've been asking for?
This is the proof. This is the proof that they have been asking for. This is the information that as we start to disseminate, I'm pretty sure that the powers that be are going to say, oh, they're anti-Semitic, but we're not anti anything. We are pro-Shemitic people. We are a Shemitic people, and we're going to get into that. But yes, as we get into this document briefly, at the top, as our brother read, is the Portuguese Jews, the influence, how they benefited from the transatlantic slave trade, their position in the U.S. government, past and present. That correlates with the plantation of yesterday to today. And so as we look at the table of contents, we have the introductory, the history, the wealth, and the benefit generated, the influence and positioning in government, list of slave ships owned by the Portuguese Jews by name that were involved in the slave trade. So we're not going to read all of this, but we have this document readily available for all of our people. And we have no problem with sharing it with our people.
Yeah, I mean, just from what you said right there in the table of contents, it sounds as if to me that there definitely was some money being made by some individuals, and this here to on any account, slavery is definitely something that should never had happened, right? And certainly it is stealing. It is a egregious crime. It is stealing. So there is a debt that is owed to that. So based on this right here, and I know you have an introduction of just talking about the relationships of who were involved in collecting money off of our ancestors' back. I would love to hear more about that, Elder.
Hallelujah. You hit a good point, because in today's society, when you commit a crime, do they not say you owe a debt to society?
They do.
So, right. So the question is slavery, is putting someone in chattel slavery a moral crime, despite if you want to make it legal because it benefits you? But according to morals, according to values, is that a crime to put someone in chattel slavery? And I'm gonna say this because we have our people that will come up and say, well, in scripture, Israel had servants. There's a difference between indentured servitude and chattel slavery. And the servants that they were taken care. They put food over their head, shelter, and they could not be used cruelty upon them, if you know Torah. But was that the same kind of thing that transpired upon our people when we were taken from the Gold Coast and placed on the plantations over in this side of the hemisphere? No, it wasn't. It was chattel slavery. Chattel slavery means just that. What is chattel? Chattel is like an animal, a sheep or a goat or some cows. We became the absolute possession of those people, just as they possess animals.
And I
You
have a
know,
question. Can you please share with us who were the perpetrators of such a slavery, such a chattel
oh,
slavery as you're talking about?
hallelujah. And if you can scroll down on that document, there's a highlighted area in red, and it lists the slave ships owned by the Portuguese Jews. Go down a little bit further. There we go. So I'm going to start at this point. And I urge anyone that's looking at this document or hear what I'm saying, please go pull up these names and you can go search this information yourself. Below is the list of ships owned by the Portuguese Jews utilized for slave trading during the transatlantic slave trade. The name of the ships: the Abigail, and its captain was Aaron Lopez. The Crown, and its captain was Isaac Levy and Nathan Simpson. The Nassau, and that was Moses Levy or Moshe Levy. Number 4, Four Sisters, also owned by captained by Moses Levy. 5 and 6 was Anne and Eliza and Justice Botch and John Abrams. They both occupied and captained those slave ships. The Prudent Betty, Henry Grieger, and Jacob Phoenix. Now I want you hear these names now, so it shouldn't be a guess about what these people considered themselves to be. Number 8, the Hester, Mordecai, and David Gomez. Number 9, the Elizabeth.
Wait, did you say Mordecai? That sounds familiar. That sounds like a scriptural name, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, along with Moshe and Isaac and Nathan.
Yeah, and David.
John, like it just keeps going.
Exactly.
It sounds like some people that identify with the Bible. This may not just be Christians as they want us to believe, just Christian settlers, right?
Absolutely. Now, we're not saying that down the line that there weren't other Gentile nations or European nations that got involved, but the Portuguese was the first, absolutely. And they were the ones that benefited the most off of that. And so that the relationship with the Portuguese or the Spanish Portuguese or the Spanish Jew, those are the Sephardic people, and the Sephardic people is one line of Jewishness that they consider themselves to be today, outside of the Ashkenaz and the Khazarian Jews.
I mean, from this
So,
document, we see that, we see the families that benefited and were heavily involved in our captivity. And obviously, they made a really good amount of money from this. I'm curious to know what corporations also benefited, because I know in times past, evidence has come out that JP Morgan and Chase, they were offering loans to slave owners who couldn't pay their debts, and they were offering them loans for that, you know, in addition to slaves. So it's just like, these corporations that we still see today that are still relevant and major powerhouses today benefited and are still benefiting from this captivity. I would love to see a list of the corporations that are benefiting today and
oh,
that have been.
absolutely. Yes. If you look at that next, there's another document that you have called Exhibit 2. And so family, this document itself was actually sent to the federal government and internationally to all the
Mm.
countries listed. We did this several years ago, but now we're dusting the dust off of this document, and we're back at it again as we unify as a people. But to get into what you asked me, the corporations that benefited from slavery: one, New York Life, Tiffany and Company, Aetna,
Mm.
Brooks Brothers.
Wait, can we pause for a second?
Yeah,
Because I just got some mail the other day, and look at who is on it.
Mm.
Aetna. Yes, yes.
Wow.
So they benefited all those years off of the start of us being chattel slaves. So you mean to tell me we're not owed anything?
Mm.
Now, but before you go further, and this list is fantastic because Ye came out with a list of all of the Jewish media that he was calling. He was calling it the red media, and all of the Jewish people that were owners are in some type of control within the music industry, right?
Right.
And so I find it interesting that you highlighted this in red as well, because this is this wouldn't be called the red media, but these would be the red corporations that built their riches off of our ancestors' back. So on a serious note, for one of these, how can we see some of the proof that these organizations were somehow involved with building riches off of our ancestors' backs?
Well, absolutely. Like right under the Aetna caption, it says Aetna insured the lives of slaves during the 1850s. They had insurance policies on slaves.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. It says shortly after its foundation, 1853, and reimbursed slave owners when their slaves died.
So is it that just blew my mind.
I
So
mean,
is it fair,
we need some free insurance then today. I mean,
right? I'm trying to
Right.
figure out. So is it fair to say like how much is owed just from that alone? Not even looking at the rest of the list, because these are all billion-dollar companies. Just
I
this
mean,
one alone.
right. I mean, these are, just somebody taking out an insurance claim today,
Yeah.
they walking off like like they really got money. They quitting their job the next day, walking away with an insurance claim with some of these cases. So yes.
And
what kind of money
Wow.
are we talking about here that this kind of company will owe?
we're talking trillions of dollars. And think about this, family, because not only did they have these insurance policies that we see, are we not still paying insurance to these people today? And think
Yes.
about the whole paradigm of insurance. You can pay insurance your whole life and never really get sort of a benefit from it. So
Right.
think about the establishment of this insurance company and how they insured these slaves and how they capitalized on it. Think about how many of our people died. How many payouts did they have? and as it transcended on down throughout history, how we continue to pay into insurance. So I say these things unapologetically. It doesn't matter who wants to challenge, who wants to debate about this information. Matter of fact, it's undebatable. We
Right.
are
I mean, you got the receipts right here on the screen. Who's debating this?
I mean,
exactly
that's just from one company, and because we know that Aetna is a juggernaut of an insurance company. I mean, it's so big that if you have a certain job, you probably can't get Aetna.
right.
And usually those jobs are where our people are working.
Exactly.
I would think that the children that you as it said in 1850 you insured the lives of those slaves. So we're the children of those slaves. Where is our insurance money today?
Right.
You know, because we free now, we just don't get no money now, huh?
Oh no.
Right.
That's something.
I would like to enter the chat on that one because these companies, we these are companies we support. Like I'm sure everybody, like Bank of America was on that list. I know most everybody has had or has now a Bank of America account. You know, you may be insured with Aetna. You got people, oh, got my jewels, my diamonds. He went to Tiffany, all that. Y'all support slavery. We have to stop doing this. And then it also poses the question too. We see the corporations that benefited from slavery. We know those corporations owe us trillions. What countries benefited from slavery? Because we know it wasn't just America that was like, oh, we need slaves to build up this land that we stole from this tribe. And we're going to bring this other tribe over here to build it up. So who are the countries that are also responsible for this as well?
Absolutely. So in the research that we looked at and that we could quantify, and there's still more out there. Number one, well, absolutely, yes, the United States of America itself is estimated that the U.S. stole over 100 trillion worth of forced labor through slavery. 100
Who
trillion.
did this?
The United States.
Wow, that's the place we live at right now.
That's the place we live at right now that we paying taxes to, that if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to send the IRS to your house. They're going to garnish your wages. They're going to take your bank account, all that kind of stuff. That's the same ones we serving today.
Amazing.
Yep. And then you got England too. England from 1761 to 1808, the British sold 1.4 million African captives as slaves and pocketed 96.5 million in that time, which is today about 13 billion today.
Wow.
Yes. Then you have France. France, you know, they transported over 1.6 million enslaved Africans to the West Indies. At the time we were doing this research, we couldn't find the actual quantitative value on that, but we can take and parse out the information and quantify what that turns into today. The Netherlands, which is the Dutch West India Company, established in 1621 as a slave trade monopoly. 25% of the slave ships were built in Amsterdam. So they built these slave ships and they're selling the slave ships to bring our people over here. So look how deep the wormhole goes.
Yeah.
And you know, it mentions in there that the Netherlands established in 1621 a slave trade monopoly.
Wow.
You know,
think about
this is huge business, right? This huge business, and somehow nobody owes nothing. Everybody's gotten fat, wipe their mouth clean, and nobody owes nothing. And we just supposed to pull ourselves up. This stupid saying, I don't even know where it comes from, but you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know,
right.
It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. And what would something like this be calculated to be owed today for like the Netherlands?
Oh, like for the Netherlands, again, that would be in the upwards of the trillions of dollars. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that we have to remember too. We are looking at this information, and they victimize us or criminalize us when we come and declare our truth. All we
Right.
got to say is, wake up, Black America. Watch Hebrews and Negroes. Now, was that what they did to us? Is that worse than that statement?
Not at
No.
all. Not at all. Nowhere,
It's definitely
nowhere
not.
close.
I think
Nowhere
what's also
close.
worse about this too is that I remember learning about the Dutch West India Company in school, but I didn't learn this part about them. I want to know why none of this was included in the history, in the world history that we were forced to learn and be indoctrinated with. That's why I love that we had the divine dedicators on before we started talking about this, because they are actually speaking to the truth of who we are as a people. You know, our history didn't start with slavery. Our history didn't start with, oh, you were a slave, or you were born a slave on a plantation in a country your family was never even from. That's why this is so important to declare our nation and to stand in our truth. I mean, given the fact that we have all these receipts and documents, you know, what does America have to say about this? You know, you say you filed this with the government. Have they responded? I would like to know.
Well, you know, when we initially sent this information out, we sent it certified mail. We get the receipts back, but of course, the one that's the criminal will not respond. So what we urge our people to do today, is now time for us to stand together, to stand on our truth, just as they get mad at us when they feel like we're making anti-Semitic statements. Let us declare our truth. Let us tell them and show them what they have done to us. And on top of this document, family, the United Nations of Israel has led the charge in actually filing this monetarily in their UCC process, and that has been acknowledged. So now all we have to do now, family, is come together as a people. Let's unify. Let's stop being disjointed, because they benefit off of us being disjointed.
Now, can I stop you there? Because I want to ask you this, because a lot of people may not fully understand what you just said, because that is huge. So you filed something, and you said what was it?
The Uniform Commercial Code, the UCC. Those that are
UCC.
they are which stands for the Uniform Commercial Code, which is where you declare value, where you show forth a debtor. Who is the debtor? And so that document was presented and filed, establishing who is the debtor to our people, who is the debtor to the Most High, who is the debtor to the children of Israel, the real Israel, who we are.
So you know, I know this is not. I mean, it is public knowledge that people can go and find this document, and you know, and so you can definitely go and search that on their site. But let me ask you this: what's that number looking like?
Oh, the monetary value?
Right. Yeah, because you've been mentioning billions, you've been mentioning upward of trillions just for individual corporations. What is the total number?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, that total number right now, and the meter is running. That number right now, oh my goodness, it is 533,751 billion. That's what was filed.
I'm sorry.
Do we say that again?
Yeah. Say it again. Say it again.
533,751 billion.
And okay. This was acknowledged by the UCC filing. This was acknowledged, the value that is owed.
They agree that they owe that. They agree that they owe. So if they agree they owe that, then they know they owe even a bigger number.
Right.
This is know what? In reality, in reality, you can't think about it like this. How can I pay back somebody that was stripped from their family, that was sodomized, buck broken in front of their people, that was when they was
Murdered.
on the plantation, they sold your mother and father to a different plantation, sold you to a different one. Now you a Jackson, the father's a Jackson, the mother is a Smith, and the children are Clarks. How do you repay a people for that? Take out your open your purses, open your wallets, and look at the last name on your identification. It's European. This is not your heritage. How do they pay? How do you even pay that back?
And you know that is a great question, because that was the question I really wanted to know. How could they pay any of this back? I mean, yeah, there is a monetary number on it, but what you just mentioned there about our names being taken away from us, our families being taken away from us, our heritage being taken away from us, our nation being taken away from us, and not one time has any of this been restored. So how could any of this be paid back, Elder?
You know what? You know, the Almighty said vengeance belongs to him. So what is incumbent upon us as Israel is to humble ourselves before our Elohim. And he is going to do what he said. He said he's going to bring us back out with great substance. He says all of the riches that the Gentile nations have put together is going to be ours. But how do we get there? We have to accept this punishment. And a lot of us haven't accepted the punishment. We have negated the fact that we entered into a covenant contract with the Almighty, which is a marriage. And the Almighty issued a letter of divorce to the nation of Israel for that covenant breach. And you and I have done a show on that, Elder, and we're going to get back on that as well, because our people have to know that we severely hurt the Most High. And I think that we don't really pay attention to that. It hurt him deeply. He formed us. He clothed us. He made us smell good. He gave us the fat of the land. The land that he gave us was like the Garden of Eden. But instead, we wanted to walk contrary to the Almighty and look at other people and how they serve their gods. And we just didn't do right by the Almighty's covenant. But the Almighty did give us a way out, So all this information is to let you know, Israel, that there is a travesty here. There has been an actual crime and damages committed against our people, and we can quantify that to a degree. We can't take it to where it actually is, but we can start somewhere, so that this information is for real. Again, we just talked about one company, the insurance company, but there were the other companies that were making clothes for the slaves and using slaves to make clothes and didn't pay.
So Elder, so basically what you're saying is that pretty much in order for us to tap into this value, which by this point, I would say, how people get into mortgages and they be on like a 30-year mortgage, and that mortgage turned into 50 or 100 years. This is one of those mortgages that is just infinite. And there is no, we going to just take this number and give you some monopoly money. Right. You're going to have to pay this back with your sweat equity. And so in order for us to tap into that value, what I hear you saying is that we really need to turn back to the Almighty. So what do you say about people that are having discussions about reparations? Because I could imagine, based on the reparations numbers, they're saying that each Black family, and this is some of the people out there that are fighting for reparations, that each Black family that can trace their heritage back to the census of knowing that your family were slaves, they're saying that each family would get about $100,000. That first of all doesn't sound. Yes, that's what they're saying. Now that just does not sound fair at all. And do you think that Black America would be satisfied with something like that? And what do you say to the people that are fighting for reparations instead of just turning back to the Almighty?
Wow, you asked a very important question, and you know, reparations. When you look at that word, repor, or to repair, and how can the one that victimized us repair us based upon what they feel? First and foremost, they're going to make this determination of what we should get, how we should get it, how we should utilize it. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. How it works is this, and Israel needs to know this. Our people need to know this. We need to stop looking at our enemy and putting them into a position of authority to remedy the travesty that has happened upon us. Now, what's going to happen, as the word says, the vengeance belongs to the Almighty. He is going to deal with these nations, and him dealing with these nations is not just going to be monetary. It's going to be collapses. It's going to be a lot of things that befall the enemies of the Almighty. The problem with that Israel needs to know is that you don't want to fall on the side of being an enemy to your Elohim, because you're going to receive that same punishment. So, to those that are out there seeking for reparations, you're still praising and catapulting your enemy, and you serving your enemy. That's what you're really doing. We only quantified this monetary amount to make a statement. Because know this, the dollar that you have in your pocket is saying, God, we trust. What God is that? Who is that? Is that the Most High? Are they trusting in the Most High when they say, God, we trust? Or is God an acronym which stands for governments, ordinances, and departments of what they trust in? So I'm going to say to you what Kyrie said. Wake up, Black America.
Yes.
Know who you are. Know how to get back under the covenant of the Most High. Know how to get back to the morality that the Almighty established. Learn how to love each other and do what the Almighty told you to do for him to remember his covenant. So this information that we're presenting is so that so that you know that we're not blowing smoke, that it's not a ambiguous thing out here when we talk about what happened to us as a people. It's going so far as many people even think, they don't even believe the slave trade happened. They don't believe that the ships took our people over here. And see, what they don't understand is this our enemy is very wise. They know how to create propaganda, and they know how to use our people to do it. We have done the research. We have spoken to people on the continent of Africa. Matter of fact, we are making allegiances with our people over there, and they also have record of what happened when the slave trade occurred, starting with the Portuguese and going down to the rest of the European nations. So don't make any mistake. The slave trade occurred, because we hear them all the time say, "Oh, I don't believe that." Thousands of slaves on a boat for months and they made it over here. Well, there is evidence that occurred, and the real evidence is that you standing over here on this land. Some promote, well, a lot of us was over here already. Some may have been over here already, but don't negate, don't let the enemy off. And what happened to you? Our ancestors did come over here via the transatlantic slave trade. Particularly out of Israel, there were 3 tribes particularly that got carried over. Yehuda, Benjamin, and some of Levi. A lot of the other tribes were already scattered. many scattered throughout the continent of Africa, some scattered in different locations. That's a whole history that we can go through later as well. But don't negate what happened to you. This is a travesty. We have been conditioned as a people to let off. We'll deal with each other on the crimes we commit with each other. We'll kill each other for stepping on our own gym shoes over a bag of chips. But when it comes to dealing with what happened to us by our enemy, we're not dealing with it wholeheartedly. Now, we don't have power in our own hands to address the issue. But what we do have is a power of unity, the power of our mouths, the power of coming together as one nation and submitting to the Most Almighty Yah. And we urge you to do that. We want you to go to our website, www.yahwehgather.us, and we want you to get involved. We are on a mission right now of recruiting our people. And when I say recruit, I'm saying gathering. We just got off a call earlier talking with our brothers about the importance of nation, the importance of nationality, and the difference with religion and organization and group. We got to come out of those things and understand the auspices and the aspects of nation. That's what the Almighty made, and that's who we are.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Well, I'm just happy that I can be a part of this discussion. And I did see the one brother say, I thought he was going to say 100 million.
Right.
Yeah. Listen. The numbers are everywhere. I'm telling you. That was the lowest number that I've heard. But there is a article in Newsweek, and I just want to share this really quick of a number that they're saying. And here's the thing: if we are depending on the same bootlick society to calculate stuff for us, then all we're going to get is whatever they decide to give us. But if we remember and understand, what did the Almighty say that he was going to give to us? What is the promise for our obedience? But let's just take a look at this. I mean, here is a number from Newsweek. They say the June 19th study suggests, based upon these parameters, the reparations could amount around 11.9 trillion, estimating around 291 basically thousand per descendant, based on an estimate in 2019. I mean, this is just not enough. Now there is another number in here that they have calculated, and I'm just going to scroll up for you here. But this one says 1.51 million for each African American. Now
that's 151 million.
151 million for each African American. Now, while this here number may be satisfactory for many, a lot of people will be like, 151 million, thank you, white daddy. But the reality is,
right.
The reality is that this whole planet is in debt to the children of Israel.
Yeah,
151 million is not going to cut it.
Nope,
it's not.
Right. And you know what?
Can't sell ourselves short.
They go, and then they're going to trick you into paying taxes on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people will too. They'll sit there, they'll pay them taxes and feel real good walking away with a couple of $1 million. That will be gone in no time.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Don't forget, we are some of the largest consumers on this planet. As soon as they even get wind of our people having millions of dollars like that, trust me, Cadillacs, with BMWs, chains and grills and all kinds of stuff will be on sale.
Right.
Buy 20, get one free.
I don't know, but knowing them, they'd probably mark it up and we'd still buy it because we had the $1 million to go get it.
Well,
Oh yeah.
we'll be making it rain somewhere. Unfortunately, that's how we do. But sadly, instead of taking whatever we would have in that scenario and building your own cars, your own houses, we will go purchase their things, and that
Oh yeah.
says a lot about the mentality that we have, and that's
Walmart.
why we're in the position we're in. Oh, what did Iman say? She said Walmart, it
Walmart
would
will
be
be
over.
overjoyed.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah,
look, look, look. But here's another thing. Hey, Ema, Walmart, you can do JPay in there. That's for all the brothers that's in jail that they gonna have their millions of dollars. What they gonna do?
Mm.
right,
You
right,
you see, just this is just the madness that we have going on here. That people that are still in captivity will be happy with their money,
right,
and this is exactly what you're saying, Elder Shemaiah. There's no way in the world that I want to be satisfied without having our nation established. There's no amount that they can give us that's going to be able to replace that. And so looking
Right.
forward to us, walking in obedience, gathering ourselves together, and really acting as a nation, so that when the Most High wants to break the well open, that we prepared and we are going to be good good tenants and good stewards of the resources that the Almighty blesses us with. So thank you so much, Elder Shemaiah, for all this information. This is a wealth of information. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear no more people in the media, Jewish people talking about prove it. Okay, the proof came out today. Okay, stop acting like y'all didn't have nothing to do with this stuff. How'd you get the money? How'd you get
right,
Right.
rich?
Right. If the
right.
Okay,
Holocaust was so bad, why are you on top now?
And you know
come on,
what? You know what? The other piece
follow the
that I
money.
want to say is that what they learned in Germany was when Hitler, when they figured out that the Ashkenazi Jew had a monopoly on private industry, the government took action against the Ashkenazi Jew, took action against private industry. So I want you to pay attention to that, because we have to start to think this thing through. So what happened when they came over here to America, they realized that not only do we have to have a monopoly on private industry, we have to influence the governmental decisions. That's why right now you can go, do you know, our listeners know that they have an ambassador just for tracking anti-Semitism.
I wonder
So
how much that person gets paid.
right, and why is that? They have an ambassador just to track anti-Semitism, and right now, me and Iman was looking at, they're actually having talks about discussions around making a law about anti-Semitism being illegal and being a crime. So guess what happens at that point? Israel, Black America, when you make a statement that is deemed to be anti-Semitic, guess what happens then?
Mm.
They
The
get to
more
take some more
travesty,
money from you.
more money, and you might wind up in jail. Who knows?
Right.
Might wind up in jail. I mean, they took 500,000 from Kyrie. They took 2 trillion from Ye. Could you imagine? And what Ye said, he said this. I don't agree with everything that he says. Much love to that brother. But what he said, if they can just shut my bank account down,
Right.
and stop me from gaining access to my $75 million, what they going to do to you?
Right. And what does that tell you? That tells you when he said white lives matter, was he lying?
He wasn't lying.
It wasn't lying. But see, a lot of our people not thinking outside the box, they're still thinking inside the box, because their mentality is controlled by their captors, through the educational system, the financial system, and every system and ism and schism on the planet, so that when he said white lives matter, a whole bunch of our people was in an uproar. What does he mean about white lives matter? He telling you the truth.
Right. You know what it means.
It means that
Absolutely.
our lives here don't matter, and it's
Right.
clear and evident based on the actions of not just America but of ourselves. So prayerfully, we can definitely start making the changes necessary. I mean, it's just going on for far too long. The gig is up.
It's up.
Everybody know what's going on. We know what's going on. So now that you know, you got to do. You know better, you do better. And
Good.
I'm
Right.
that's all we could pray for at this point. Everybody that's here on this YouTube live, you are a part of the solution.
Yes.
You know why? Because you're showing up, you're here, and we are still awaiting our brothers and sisters that are out there across the globe for us to come together, for us to finally be able to see a world filled with peace, harmony, love, justice, right? Joy, a planet filled with us, filled with Hebrews,
There you
filled
go.
with
Hebrew
Israelites,
planet.
right? A
Yes.
Hebrew planet. So I'm just so happy that finding out that I'm owed trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. That's a good day. Even if I know I'm not going to get it from the ones who owe it to me, but the Almighty is going to restore it. That's something to rejoice about. Thank you so much, Elder Shemaiah.
You know what? And when you have that mentality and you know that changes things. You can start to walk with a certain assurance as you walk about in life, knowing that these people owe us. They owe us. And they have benefited greatly off the blood, the sweat, the tears, the agony, and all the barbaric things they've done to us. Because we didn't even talk about the experiments that they conducted on our people. We didn't even get into that. We have a document
Right.
on that too. The advancement of gynecology made its advancements off of the slave, our sisters that were slaves. This doctor developed all kinds of instrumental tools to probe our sisters without any anesthesia, to the point where a lot of them died. The same thing happened with our babies. The advancement in pediatrics was done the same way. You can go look at all the different experiments that was conducted on our people. We want our people to know that the United Nations of Israel is a resource of information. And we want you to know, you just come get involved. You can get your hands on the information and let's go. Let's start to build. And I say this also, if you Christian, if you're Muslim, whatever it is, if we reach out to you and you turn a blind eye because you say, oh, well, they don't believe the same way I believe, then you are not the solution. You are the problem. It's time for us to
Yes.
put that aside.
Yep. The time is now. What better time? The world is falling apart. They don't know what's going on. Dr. Fauci disappeared. They got all kinds of, just all kinds of fear tactics that they try to put out there. Kyrie Irving can't say nothing. He still want to play basketball. The world is just going nuts. Why don't we just, what goes on when everybody else acting up? That's when you start coming together. You know what? Hey, you got this, you got that. All right, let's bring it together.
Yes.
Let's just do that. But you know what? The biggest thing, and I have to stress this, and again, I just want to say thank you to Elder Shemaiah. Thank you, Deja, for having me here. But the biggest thing, family, you must share these videos like these. You must invite people to opportunities for us to have these kind of conversations. Please, because there are a lot of people that want to gather together. But if you're not sending them a message in their we got the technology now. You can just send them a direct message. Hey, can you join us? We're talking about nation building. We're talking about coming together. We're talking about how we can come together to be obedient before the Almighty. Please, family, we can't do it just with the three people that you see here, the three talking heads. All we are just putting information out. It's going to take all of us together to wake up and realize that it's going to take us to work together to get this big thing accomplished. And I just want to say thank you again. Look forward to seeing more videos coming very soon. We got a lot of flag raising events that are coming up. The Most High is opening up abundance for the nation of Israel. Land is just popping up everywhere. And the Most High is saying to us, come, bring the people here. And yes, we already know what's going to happen with America and all the enemies of the Almighty. But in the time that we have, let's just come together and do what we need to do. So thank you so much, Elder Shemaiah. Please like, follow, share, leave them comments, family. And this is how we're going to, continue on supporting the mission and the cause. Thank you, family.
And you know what, Elder? And before we when we in closing, when we do close, we gotta play that. We gotta play that video that he planted.
I think we should just close with the trailer. I mean, that sums up everything.
Yeah.
Let's just close it out with the trailer.
Absolutely.
Very good. Yes, we could definitely do that. Family, I hope y'all all enjoyed us, and we're gonna see y'all all next time here on Hebrew Planet. Enjoy this here upcoming movie right here. Check it out.
Shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom.
Okay, I'm getting reports that there was no sound, so we're gonna run this thing back the correct way with the sound. Sorry about that. Let me see here. Let's see what we had going on here. This technology stuff. Y'all know how it goes. Here we go. Let's go ahead and run this here back for the family. And again, until next time, shalom, shalom. Still no sound. Hold up. Let me hold on. Family, I'm seeing in the comment that there's still no sound. Is this true? Y'all really can't hear it?
There's still nothing. They're blocking.
It's still nothing. They're blocking. They're trying to stop the Hebrew Planet.
What's going on? Wow. Okay. Well, let me see. I'm gonna try it one more again. And
okay.
The music got flagged.
Yeah, we better not be no flags. Hey, you started talking about the Jewish people. They listen. We not that famous yet, so all right. Hold on. That just let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. Let me know if y'all can hear this in the just leave a comment.
We
You
got
hear
it.
it now?
Yes.
Got it.
Oh, that's working? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, 12. It's been years since I've seen anyone, any sort of life. I've been surviving off of rodents and for drinking water rain. The last sign of civilization I see was on the news before the blast. Before they came out of the sky. I'm not talking green Martians. I'm not talking little aliens either. I'm talking niggers. Girl teeth, big nose, big lip niggers. A strange flying object landed in my yard last night. I can hear in the distance music thumping all through the night. Taunting me. I can smell them cooking fried chicken.
Let the thing sink Titanic.
I can hear them saying,
one more time, more damage. Open up
the
the book, read the canon. Find us right there, transatlantic. The
The
rules waking up, they can't stand it. Y'all about to shake the whole planet. Y'all about to shake the whole planet. Who are we, Hebrew planet?
Who is it?
Plantations, nigga. Standing is Hebrew planet. Y'all about to shake the whole planet. The last one standing is Hebrew planet. The rules waking up, they can't stand it. Soaking up the planets, Hebrew planet. Yeah, take over the breakover. This world got no swag, need a makeover. One way trip to hell, no layovers. They all drink from the cup, got a hangover. Yeah, yes, they lied, the truth won't hide. Our people lack knowledge, so they broke inside. Some really, the ops, they the other side. I pray the spirit got you and open up your eyes. We the witnesses.
I didn't see it. What happened? There was a group outside?
There was a group outside, 100, possibly more. They were wearing a shirt called Israel United in Christ. They're a group waiting.
Yeah, I think that's a conversation for another day. Just here to focus on the game.
You've said this whole time that you didn't know what kind of what voice you had, and if these are the people that are out here in your name, do you feel like you have it's a consequence of what you've done?
Again, I'm just here to focus on the game.
CBS News, DreamWorks Animation. Now, the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies.
True Jerusalem.
These are the people of the book. That's right.
The Israeli government, however, does not recognize Tel Arad as a holy site.
Israel have a law, you see, that indicates that.
Trump, how are you feeling about it?
How do I feel about President Trump? I think that white people put Trump in office, and that was the man that they wanted him to rule over their people. But I think black people, Hispanics and Native Americans have a king that they need to obey. And this is what my power said. Read Acts 5:29.
Acts chapter 5 and 29. Then Peter and all the apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God.
President of the whole nation of Israel. We're descendants by seed, by heritage of this people called Israel.
So you...
Who is the Hebrew of the nation of Israel? Let's talk about what happened during the Transatlantic Slave Trade when the Portuguese bought slaves from the coast of Africa and took them to North, South, well, actually started in South and Central America and later migrated to North America, and we were spread across all the plantations on both areas. Let's talk about that. Let's have an open dialogue. Who are the families that own the slave ships? Who are the Portuguese? If we go back and do our history and research, we'll discover, even prior to that, that Christopher Columbus himself was a Sephardic Jew. Now, so when we look at the Portuguese, when you look at Sephardic, by definition, those are people that come from Spain and Portugal.
It up and give it a look. The Almighty ain't forsake us, it's him we forsook. We them zombies from the valley of bones. Y'all better lock up your homes, about to destroy all of your thrones. Better keep believe it. Yeah, we bet. We all over the news. Give them hard.